Good evening, everyone. It's Arifa. I'm going to be discussing assignment 3. Now, I'm going to discuss context, pedagogical creativity, and technology. I'm going to discuss each context and then I'm going to relate it to my own teaching and learning context. I teach at a primary school from grades 4 until grade 7. Now, let's look at context of learning with technology. When planning lessons with technologies, we basically take the task and basically align it to the learning outcomes that we want to achieve. That means that I look through the ATPs, I look at the topics, what topics need to be covered in a certain amount of time, that means a number of weeks, and then I look at the teaching strategies that I'm going to use. Also, then I need to assess learners' prior knowledge and their competencies, and also their technologies that are available to them. Now, I basically strive to create a meaningful learning environment by choosing the appropriate technology. Even though there's multiple opportunities that exist for students to shape their own learning and teaching context, teaching and learning at my school basically is teacher orientated than learner centered. Students basically come from different contexts and they have diverse backgrounds. They also have different cultural perspectives, and some of them have challenges with their learning, so they have barriers. And all of these need to be considered when we are planning lessons. Now, the contextual factors basically play a crucial role when planning lessons with technologies. Now, before I tell you how the contextual factors are categorized, at my school, what we basically have is that there are 30 learners in a class from diverse backgrounds. We have a whiteboard that we use to explain concepts. Then we have a television that we use to teach from, and also we use to show them YouTube videos. And then we have textbooks, and also we created our own resource booklets because we have a high absentee rate, and the resource booklets basically streamlines information from the textbooks and it aligns with the ATPs. So if learners are absent or they miss out, or learners with barriers are slow to copy down information, all the information is in that resource booklet. Now, the contexts are basically categorized into 4 different components. There's the teacher and the learner context, then it's the classroom environment, then we have cross-cultural projects, and then the beliefs of and the practices of the teacher. So let's look at the teacher and learner context. Now, we have the first thing we must look at is basically the school's resources. That means that the learning materials, the availability of technology, and the infrastructure. So in the previous slide, I told you that we have basically 30 learners in a class. We have a science lab, and I don't want to reiterate because I did tell you the dynamics of the class. So we basically pretty much a privileged school because we have good resources. Then there's also professional development opportunities, like how uh, uh, support and training is given to teachers. So we basically, every semester, we do a professional development course amongst teachers where we train them and inform them of new strategies. And it also unifies the staff by them working together as a team. Then we have, or actually we're supposed to have a good management structure where they support teachers and mentor them, but unfortunately, sometimes it happens. Then we have community attitudes. Basically, we look at how the community supports the school. So community, also how they support the use of technology. Now, as I said that our context, we've privileged, there is good infrastructure. They are many households have technology available, but then there are quite a few students that do not come from such privileged backgrounds, so they are unable to access technology because they uh, either don't have data or they don't have computers or cell phones. Also, the attitudes um, I would say load shedding. Now, because it's election time, we don't have, but load shedding does play a crucial factor, especially the time that they have load shedding. So, for example, if students go home and load shedding occurs from maybe 4 to 6 or 6 to 8, then they actually won't have the time to actually use technology to support their learning during a school day. Then we're going to basically look at their socio-economic realities. So that's affecting their access and usage. That's the underprivileged people, learners, underprivileged students that basically don't have data facilities or access to data, nor do they have the instruments that they use to um, use technology in the sense of computers, cell phones, and stuff like that. Now, if you look at the classroom environment, the next contextual factor is basically the physical space, the layout, the equipment that we are using. Uh, and I did tell you there's basically 30 in a class. There's three in each grade. There's three classes. The layout, learners sit in single desks, but slow learners are paired with fast learners, so those learners sit together. And the equipment is that we do have um, the technological resources like televisions and whiteboards and stuff like that. But unfortunately, learners don't have iPads and smart boards. That's why we say that it is more teacher centered because we basically convey information to students. They don't really construct their own knowledge currently, which is quite sad. Then and I believe that it's good to construct your own knowledge because it helps develop their critical and problem solving skills. Now, looking at cross-cultural products, it's understanding the contextual interactions between the educational systems, digital environments, learners, and teachers. So these projects is like, for example, at our school, we have a project where we have the learners learn to read program. So struggling learners would use this program where they go on a computer and they can learn and develop their reading skills through close reading exercises. But unfortunately, even though we have that facility available to us, it's not being made use of. We also have a computer room. Now, previously in our computer room, we had computer lessons, and every class participated in a computer lesson. And in that lesson, they learned how to use Microsoft Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. They learned these skills in school. And they also learned GarageBand to compose music and make their own items and stuff. But as management changed, they did away with that. And they we became a pilot school for you coding and robotics. So now that 1 hour lesson of that computer lesson now went to coding and robotics. So learners learn how to code and robotics, but it's only theory that they are learning. They're not given that hands-on experience. But I'm sure it will come. Okay, then we are basically looking at their teacher practices and the beliefs. So these contextual factors is how do teachers use technology in their classroom and their skill of planning and managing their time to use the technology. Like here, for example, let's just say if a teacher uses the whiteboard and they write a whole lot of information for the class, uh, for the learners to take it down. But their time frame is basically maybe a half an hour lesson or a 1 hour lesson. Now, if they're going to teach for basically 10 or 15 minutes and then write down information on the board and give learners to copy it down. So while they're writing information, learners are copying it. But if they don't manage their time properly, and I know this used to happen quite often at my school, is that the information is conveyed, it's there on the board, and then learners aren't given sufficient time to copy that information down from the board. So and then the next lesson starts. And this is problematic in having the half an hour lessons that our principal insists that we need to have.